The point of concurrency of the perpendicular bisector of a triangle. Circumcenter. It is a process of finding the maximum or minimum values of a linear function under limiting conditions or constraints. Linear programming. The path traced out by a point on a circle rolling on a straight line. The parametric equation of the curve is x equals a times the quantity, 1 minus sine theta, and y equals 1 minus cosine theta. Cycloid. It is an example of a central conic, either A or B. It refers to a number or an expression that can divide two or more given numbers or expressions. Common factor. It represents ownership of the corporation and has the residual claim of the assets after all has been settled. Common stock. The condition when there is no change in translational or rotational motions. Equilibrium. The sum of all forces in the orthogonal directions and the sum of all moments about any point is zero. Equilibrium. It is the sum of products of each element of mass and the square of its distance from the axis. Moment of inertia. How many nodes and antinodes does a fundamental frequency of a standing wave in an air column of an open tube have? 1 node and 2 antinodes. When a sound wave goes from air to water, what quantity remains unchanged? Frequency. The sum of the integers between 288 and 887 that are exactly divisible by 15 is 23,700. The length of the lattice rectum for the ellipse x squared over 64 plus y squared over 16 equals 1 is 4 units. The UN forces in Bosnia use a type of missile that hits its target with a probability of 0.3. How many missiles should be fired so that there is at least an 80% probability of hitting the target? 5. Evaluate the limit as x approaches 0 of the quantity x plus tangent x all over sine x. 2. What is the equation of the normal line to the curve? X squared plus y squared equals 169 at 0.512. 12x minus 5y equals 0. Find the area of the region bounded by the curve, y equals x cubed, and the lines y equals 1 and x equals 0. 3/4 square unit. If the line through -1, 3 and -3, -2 is perpendicular to the line through -7, 4 and x 0, find the value of x. 3. A rectangular box with an open top is to be formed from a rectangular piece of cardboard which is 6 centimeters by 16 centimeters. How many centimeters should be cut from each corner to form a box with maximum volume? 4/3. A door 7 feet high and 3 feet wide has hinges at the top and bottom of one edge. Each hinge supports half of the 40-pound weight of the door. Find the horizontal components of the door exerts on each hinge. 8.6 feet. An automobile traveling at a speed of 30 miles per hour accelerates uniformly to a speed of 60 miles per hour in 10 seconds. How far does the automobile travel during the time of acceleration? 330 feet. A total of 0.8 kilograms of water at 20 degrees Celsius is placed in a 1 kilowatt electric kettle. How long a time is needed to raise the temperature of water to 100 degrees Celsius? 4.5 minutes. A wire has a resistance of 30 ohms at 20 degrees Celsius. What is the resistance at 80 degrees Celsius, assuming that the temperature coefficient of resistance is 0.00385 at 20 degrees Celsius? 36.93 ohms. The SI unit of solid angle. Steradian. A plane figure with 4 sides, 2 pairs of adjacent sides equal. Kite. A polynomial equation wherein the highest power of the unknown variable is 4. Quartic equation. The portion of a sphere that is bound by the 2 intersections of 2 parallel planes with the sphere. Zone. Old name of zero. Cipher. The point on a stationary wave where amplitude is maximum. Antinode. For a body spinning about its own axis, it is the product of the moment of inertia and its angular velocity. Angular acceleration. It is the impression of a shrinkage, say, of a swimming pool to the eyes of an observer looking vertically downward. Apparent depth. Simplify the expression sine of a plus 30 plus cosine of a plus 60. Cosine A. The central angle subtended by an arc of a segment of a circle is 1.3 radians. The area of the segment is 17 square inches. Find the radius of the circle. 10 inches. Find the distance between 2 lines represented by the linear equations 4x minus 3y minus 8 equals 0 and 8x minus 6y plus 9 equals 0. 2.5 units. Transform the polar equation r equals 6 sine theta into an equation in Cartesian coordinates. X squared plus y squared equals 6y. What is the allowable error in measuring the edge of the cube that is intended to hold 8 cubic meters if the error in the computed volume is not to exceed 0.03 cubic meter? 0.0025 meter. If x times y is equal to 12, find the minimum value of 4x plus 3y. 24. A 5 Henry coil whose resistance is 10 ohms connected in series with a 30 ohm resistor and to a 120 volt battery and a switch. The switch is closed at t equals 0 second. Determine the voltage drop across the 30 ohm at t equals 0.15 seconds. 62.9 volts. Find the length in meters of a simple pendulum whose period is 2 seconds. 1. A man standing 897 meters from a high cliff hits a tree stump with an axe and hears the faint echo 5.2 seconds later. What is the velocity of sound in the air that day? 345 meters per second. A wire has a resistance of 5 ohms. What will be the resistance of another wire of the same material 3 times as long and half the cross-sectional area? 30 ohms. The pressure of a gas is directly proportional to the Kelvin temperature in Gay-Lussac's law. Which of the following is not a refractory metal? Lead. A rainbow is an arc of light separated into bands of color, parallel stripes, that appear when the sun's rays are reflected and reflected by drops of mist or rain. The power of a lens is measured in diopters. Diopter is the reciprocal of the local length in meters. Austenite is transformed into bainite when subjected to what process? Moderate cooling. Salt and weak bases, when dissolved in water and producing acidic solutions, are said to have undergone what chemical process? Hydrolysis. Oxides, nitrides, and carbides are referred to as engineering blank. Metals. All oxidizing numbers added together in a compound must equal 0. Kepler's law states that if t is time required by a planet to complete one revolution about the Sun, and r is the distance of the planet from the Sun, which of the following expressions is constant? T squared over r cubed. Which of the following cannot be used to supply heat to a thermodynamic system? Adiabatic heat expansion. In the study of relativity, how many postulates are formulated by Einstein? 2. The Board of ECE requires the supervision of registered ECEs when CATV systems above blank pesos are installed. 25,000. Red brass is composed of blank % copper while the rest is zinc. 85%. The polarization behavior of light is best explained by considering light to be transverse wave. The temperature that has the widest range. Thermoelectric. What refers to the reciprocal of volume elasticity? Compressibility. Sound interference is needed to produce the phenomenon known as beats. In thermodynamics, energy transfer is classified as blank function. Point. The frictional force is blank the area of contact. Independent of.